Totally leprosy. Leviticus chapter 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say, When a woman hath brought forth seed, and born a man-child, she shall be unclean 7 days, like as she is unclean when she is put apart for her disease. And in the 8th day the foreskin of the children's flesh shall be circumcised, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come unto the sanctuary, until the time of her purifying be out. But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as when she hath her disease, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days. Now when the days of her purifying are out, whether it be for a son or a daughter, she shall bring to the priest a lamb of 1 year old for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, who shall offer it before the Lord, and make an atonement for her. So she shall be purged of the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that hath borne male or female. But if she be not able to bring a lamb, she shall bring 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons, the one for a burnt offering, and the other for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her. So she shall be clean. Leviticus chapter 13. Moreover the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, The man that shall have in the skin of his flesh a swelling or a scab, or a white spot, so that in the skin of his flesh it be like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. And the priest shall look on the sore in the skin of his flesh. If the hair in the sore be turned into white, and the sore seen to be lower than the skin of his flesh, it is the plague of leprosy. Therefore the priest shall look on him, and pronounce him unclean. But if the white spot be in the skin of his flesh, and seem not to be lower than the skin, nor the hair thereof be turned unto white, then the priest shall shut him that hath the plague 7 days. After the priest shall look upon him the 7th day, and if the plague seem to him to abide still, and the plague groweth not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up yet another 7 days more. Then the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and if the plague be dark, and the sore grow not in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is a scab. Therefore he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scab grow more in the skin, after that he hath seen the priest, or to be purged, he shall be seen of the priest yet again. Then the priest shall consider, and if the scab grow into the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean, for it is leprosy. When the plague of leprosy is in a man, he shall be brought unto the priest. And the priest shall see him, and if the swelling be white in the skin, and have made the hair white, and there be raw flesh in the swelling, it is an old leprosy of the skin of his flesh. And the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. Also if the leprosy break out in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of the plague, from his head even to his feet, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and if the leprosy cover all his flesh, he shall pronounce the plague to be clean, because it is all turned into whiteness. So he shall be clean. But if there be raw flesh on him, when he is seen, he shall be unclean. For the priest shall see the raw flesh, and declare him to be unclean. For the raw flesh is unclean, therefore it is the leprosy. Or if the raw flesh change and be turned into white, then he shall come to the priest. And the priest shall behold him, and if the sore be changed into white, then the priest shall pronounce the plague clean, for it is clean. Then the flesh also, whose skin there is a boil, and is healed, and in the place of the boil there be a white swelling, or a white spot somewhat reddish, shall be seen of the priest. And when the priest seeth it, if it appear lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be changed into white, The priest then shall pronounce him unclean, for it is a plague of leprosy, broken out in the boil. But if the priest look upon it, and there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, but be darker, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it spread abroad in the flesh, the priest shall pronounce him unclean, for it is a sore. But if the spot continue in his place, and grow not, it is a burning boil. Therefore the priest shall declare him to be clean. If there be any flesh, in whose skin there is hot burning, and the quick flesh of the burning have a white spot, somewhat reddish or pale, then the priest shall look upon it. And if the hair in that spot be changed into white, and it appeareth lower than the skin, it is leprosy, broken out and burning. Therefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean, for it is the plague of leprosy. But if the priest look up on it, and there be no white hair in the spot, and be no lower than the other skin, but be darker, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. After, the priest shall look upon him the 7th day. If it be grown abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean, for it is the plague of leprosy. And if the spot abide in his place, not growing in the skin, but is dark, it is a rising of the burning. The priest shall therefore declare him clean, for it is the drying up of the burning. If also a man or a woman hath a sore on the head, or in the beard, then the priest shall see the sore, and if it appears lower than the skin, and there be a small yellow hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean, for it is a black spot, and leprosy of the head or of the beard. And if the priest look on the sore of the black spot, and if it seem not lower than the skin, nor have any black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him up that hath the sore of the black spot 7 days. After, in the 7th day, the priest shall look on the sore, and if the black spot grow not, and there be no yellow hair in it, and the black spot seem not lower than the skin, then he shall be shaven, but the place of the black spot shall he not shave. But the priest shall shut him that hath the black spot up 7 days more. On the 7th day the priest shall look on the black spot, and if the black spot grow not in the skin, nor seem lower than the other skin, then the priest shall cleanse him, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the black spot grow abroad in the flesh after his cleansing, then the priest shall look on it, and if the black spot grow in the skin, the priest shall not seek for the yellow hair, for it is unclean. But if the black spot seem to him to abide, and the black hair grow therein, the black spot is healed, he is clean, and the priest shall declare him to be clean. Moreover, if there be any white spots in the skin of the flesh of man or of woman, then the priest shall consider, and if the spots in the skin of their flesh be somewhat dark and white withal, it is but a white spot broken out in the skin, therefore he is clean. And the man whose hair is fallen off his head and is bald is clean. And if his head lose the hair on the forepart, and be bald before, he is clean. But if there be in the bald head or in the bald forehead a white reddish sore, it is a leprosy springing in his bald head or his bald forehead. Therefore the priest shall look upon it, and if the rising of the sore be white, reddish in his bald head or in his bald forehead, appearing like leprosy in the skin of his flesh, he is a leper and unclean. Therefore the priest shall pronounce him altogether unclean, for the sore is in his head. The leper also, in whom the plague is, shall have his clothes rent and his head bare, and shall put a covering upon his lips, and shall cry, I am unclean, I am unclean. As long as the disease shall be upon him, he shall be polluted, for he is unclean. He shall dwell alone. Without the camp shall be his habitation. Also the garment that the plague of leprosy is in, whether it be a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it be in the warp or in the woof of linen or woolen, either of the skin or of anything made of skin, And if the sore be green or somewhat reddish in the garment or in the skin, or in the warp or in the woof, or in anything that is made of skin, it is a plague of leprosy, and shall be shown unto the priest. Then the priest shall see the plague, and shut up it that hath the plague 7 days, and shall look on the plague the 7th day. If the plague grow in the garment, or in the warp, or in the roof, or in the skin, or in anything that is made of skin, that plague is a fretting leprosy and unclean, and he shall burn the garment, or the warp, or woof, whether it be woolen or linen, or anything that is made of skin, wherein the plague is. For it is a fretting leprosy, therefore it shall be burned in the fire. If the priest yet see that the plague grow not in the garment, or in the woof, or in whatsoever thing of skin it be, then the priest shall command them to wash the thing wherein the plague is, and he shall shut it up 7 days more. Again the priest shall look on the plague after it is washed, and if the plague have not changed his color, though the plague spread no further, it is unclean. Thou shalt burn it in the fire, for it is a fret inward, whether the spot be in the bare place of the hole, or in the part thereof. And if the priest see that the plague be darker, after that it is washed, he shall cut it out of the garment, or out of the skin, or out of the warp, or out of the woof. And it shall appear, and if it appear still in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything made of skin, it is a spreading leprosy. Thou shalt burn the thing wherein the plague is in the fire. If thou hast washed the garment, or the warp, or the woof, or whatsoever thing of skin it be, if the plague be departed therefrom, then shall it be washed the 2nd time, and be clean. This is the law of the plague of leprosy, in a garment of woolen or linen, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of skin, to make it clean or unclean.